Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Lodgify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.
How many tabs do you guys have open right now?
Oh, like at least 30, maybe more?
Definitely a lot. Too much.
Yeah, it's tough to keep up with them all. Why is there not a solution that we can put everything within one roof on one tab?
I mean, I feel like it's just kind of difficult. There's a lot of
Yeah.
component going on.
Yeah, a lot of moving pieces, I would say.
Have you guys heard of Hospitality Hub?
No, what's that?
No.
Thanks to our sponsor, TravelNet, you can now integrate the best solutions into Hospitality Hub, a single tool within the award-winning Track software. Optimize and integrate with Hospitality Hub, the most powerful platform for property management teams. Learn more with the link in our show notes.
Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels and short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Monday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Good morning.
Happy Monday, best day of the week.
Best day of the week with the best podcast in the industry. No big deal. Just
Good
here.
Morning Hospitality.
Yes. And Michael, ask me what's behind me right now.
That's a trick question. Will, what's behind you?
Hey, so this whole coffee bar right behind me, I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty great. And it was even better when I got to wake up with my Sojo coffee this morning.
I will say, first of all, I love filter coffee a lot more than the little K cups.
Yeah.
And I've been to some luxury short-term rentals before where they didn't have coffee filters.
Mm.
Another reason why Sojo makes sense. I literally have used a paper towel as a coffee filter, a trick that Simon Lehman actually taught me because he's run into the same issue. So get your boxes from Sojo. It'll save you and your guests headaches.
Seriously. Yeah. Wake up with us with a cup of coffee while you watch or listen. You get 30 days free of Sojo coffee bar staples for your homes. And of course, we're going to include the link here. So thank you again, Sojo, for helping us wake up to wake everybody else up to the industry news.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right, dude. So we're obviously missing Brandy today. She is busy being the COO of Romy, doing her thing. And today, just the schedules didn't line up. So we'll see her again next week. And speaking of Sojo, we actually have Max Farley, who is the founder of Sojo, joining us as our special guest. So this will be a perfect time for any of our listeners to think of questions or to get to tune in and hear more about Sojo outside of us, obviously loving the product and getting sent coffee samples for the podcast.
What a pleasant surprise that was.
Pleasant surprise.
Cool.
Oh, man.
Well, I think the news that everyone was talking about last week, we've probably all heard it by now, but a record by $5 million. HostAway raised $175 million. So monster, massive congrats to Marcus, Saber, and team. Groundbreaking. I mean, I guess his last round was 170. So they topped them. They one-upped them just a little bit. And this kind of goes along with a theme that we've weaved in and out of shows since the beginning of the year. In the past, we've seen lots of consolidation in hotels. We've seen a lot of consolidation on property management companies.
Mm-hmm.
What we haven't seen a lot of until recently is a lot of consolidation on tech. And that's certainly changed this year. And then with the war chests that some of these companies have, I think we'll just only continue to see that more and more. Guesty's made a number of acquisitions. Track's made a couple acquisitions. Now HostAway might be poised to make a few themselves. So I think all in all, it's great for all of the users of any of those softwares, because as every company gets a little bit better, then everyone else has to keep up. So as a whole, the industry is in a much better spot in terms of tech now than they were 5 years ago.
Yeah. And I think our sentiment in the group chat as we were talking about this last week during the announcement, congrats to Marcus and I forget his other co-founders, but like every entrepreneur hopes and dreams for that day, right? You get a nice piece of equity bought and a nice chunk of change to carry off into the sunset, hopefully. So big congrats. And it's just something that's super, I think every entrepreneur thinks about it. Do we all see that day? No, but it was just really cool to see a nice win for someone who's probably busted their ass for it. So
yeah,
sweet.
look, kudos to all you founders out there. It's challenging. I can speak to that firsthand, but the highs are high, the lows are low, and we all hope for an outcome similar to that one day.
Yeah. So what else is next on the agenda? We've had some, not only the host away race, but we also got to see Get Your Guide, which I never really heard of before this announcement, but they raised 194 million last week, and that was pretty shocking. That's like,
I've heard of them. I know a couple people that work over there. Yes, it's very shocking that I think their valuation was pushed over 2 billion. And quite frankly, it's something that Airbnb couldn't figure out. So the fact that Airbnb is working on it shows the market size. But I struggle to see a digital guidebook is going to be worth 2 billion. When it's all said and done. So I think it's a testament to having the right backers, having great growth, having a great team in place, being able to kind of sell the big vision. But that's a big number for a guidebook.
I agree.
So.
I don't know how.
What?
Oh, I was gonna say I don't know how a guidebook company could get that type. Like, I understand how they can get the money, but I just don't see where the value is going to be for the investors. I don't see where the value is going to be for the customers. At the end of the day, Airbnb, other OTA platforms, and even other property management softwares have this product. Breezeway has this product now. Operto has this product.
Well, not quite. So they're able to book events. Like it's a competitor of Viator, and Viator got pretty big. I don't know the valuation of Viator, but they're essentially booking the Louvre tours and the Tower of London. So it's more than just kind of your Airbnb experiences pieces. It's certainly more professionalized, but yeah, I think again, quite frankly, I see ads for Viator quite regularly. I don't know if that's just because of they've marked me.
Yeah.
But even on TV, I get them. So, I mean, it's great. I'm glad to see a lot of money flowing in this week to travel companies, because it has been a bit of a freeze over the past 6 months or so. But the rich are getting richer, which is part of consolidation. It ultimately is a good thing for the industry, having the powerhouse, cream rise to the top. But one of the most interesting topics that I ran across this week, Will, Marriott hasn't even announced the name of it yet, but they have added a lower end extended stay product to their 32 brands now, I think is what the article said. 32, 33 brands.
Yeah.
The most surprising piece of this is that 30% of the pipeline of hotels in America is extended stay. 30%.
Yeah.
So 1 in every 3 hotels that's being built is being designed specifically for extended stay, which I'll assume means it has a kitchen and a little bit of a living space. So
Kitchen.
look, at least it's got a fridge and a microwave, right? Maybe it's got a hot plate, but I struggle to see if these hotel brands are hitting the mark on what the traveler wants. They're definitely trying to compete against the short-term rental operators like Brandy of the world. But I think you lose a little bit of that authenticity. You still feel like you're in a hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've stayed in extended stays before. You know you're in a hotel room, and it feels a little bit less authentic. And get ready for the onslaught of regulations in urban markets, because I guarantee you that's part of all of these hotel lobby plans is let's build some extended stay product, and then let's take the fight, make it even stronger in these urban markets, and push out short-term rentals that we can then deem illegal. And then guests will stay with us because they have to, because they prefer this unit type, but they don't have another option because everything else has been deemed illegal. Which is why I love what Romy's doing, what Minthouse has done, some of these other big operators getting hotel licenses, and that way you're more protected from that instance. But what are your thoughts on it before I dive in further?
I will say the same kind of thinking. I'm not excited by this brand, and you are correct. It was their 32nd brand under Marriott for them to go. I'm not excited for the extended stay piece because I think it's funny how consistently we have seen during the pandemic and moving forward to today that hotel operators and hotel investors think like Apartments by Marriott or extended stays or all these other brands are competitive enough to replace short-term rentals in urban markets. I don't think, like when we saw Hilton do like, oh, now you can book adjoining rooms and we're competitive to this is our short-term rental offering. It's like, oh my gosh, they're not the same. They're not. You can't, like, you're in a hotel.
I'm hopeful that Apartments by Marriott will actually be apartments. I think
I
one
am
of the
too. I'm hopeful too, but
one of the benefits as a developer or a property owner in these cases of having a hotel that is structured like an apartment is if and when the next pandemic happens, it can actually turn into an apartment where people are comfortable staying in, not just a 4-wall 180 square foot box. So I'm hopeful that is a little bit more of where Marriott's taking that brand. Now they're doing a lower tier brand, a more economy, as they like to say.
Yeah.
But I am curious what the actual Apartments by Marriott will look like, because if it does feel a little bit more like home, I mean, I've stayed in nice hotel suites that do feel more like a living quarters than a hotel room, which is what you want. So time will tell. If anyone has any sneak peeks on these projects, let us know. We'd love to highlight them, maybe go visit the properties. But I think, the people that are fighting the regulations in these urban markets, it's only going to get worse as these projects become available and open to the market. They're going to want to force out their competition, and you are going to be seen as competition.
Well, and this is, you brought this up and we kind of briefly chatted about it before the recording, but does the average consumer, a Marriott Bonvoy member or any type of loyalty rewards member, or even just a day-to-day traveler, leisure or business, do they want extended stays? Do we actually need these types of properties with a hot plate that barely can fit a pan or a pot to do soup or ramen or whatever? I don't know. And still feel like it's a hotel, still feel like, do they really want these products? Because if 30% of the pipeline for hotels right now is going to be extended stay, that's seems like a lot of inventory for a potentially low demand product.
Well, I think it comes down to traveler demographic, and the article referenced the bleisure travel theme is here to stay. But for me, and everyone's going to view this through their own lens, but for me, when I travel personally by myself for work, I often do prefer a hotel room just because it's easier, it's more convenient. In many cases, often the properties are better located, so it's more central. But when I want to stay, when I'm traveling with my family, I want multiple rooms, and I don't want a hotel room. I do want a fridge. I do want to be able to cook my kid breakfast at 6 a.m. before the downstairs lobby is open, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are things, different traveler cases that happen. And when you're talking about bleisure, I mean, you're talking about a small market that extends their business trips personally if they're by themselves. Now, if they bring their family along, they don't want to stay in a room that's a king size bed and has a mini fridge. So it will be fascinating to follow how well or poorly some of these extended stay products. And I think if they're not suites, they're going to be missing the mark.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. Do you want to jump into the next one? Because this one, I think you probably understand a little bit better than I did. I personally was just like, okay, I don't really get the whole point, but let's go into the kayak tool. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, I love this. So Kayak is launching a best time to travel tool. And for me, I love traveling to Europe. I've done it quite a bit, both professionally and personally, but I absolutely hate traveling in the summer to Europe. Everything's more expensive. Everything's more crowded. It's way less authentic. If you're going to Southern Europe, it's hot. If you're going to Northern Europe, it's hot and there's no air conditioning. Kristen and I went to Ireland and we caught the heat wave. We thought we were getting out of the south, the swamp in the south. And it was like 85 degrees, but no air conditioning. So, this tool factors in all of those things, factors in weather, it factors in prices and crowds and how easy it is to get tickets or reservations and things like that. And the best time in the world to travel for me is either in the fall or in the winter. I don't mind cold weather. The Christmas markets all over Europe are fantastic. If you've never seen them, highly, highly recommend it. But things are a lot cheaper. It's more authentic. You actually get to meet locals. If you go to Italy in August, you're not going to see an Italian, like, period. They're gone. I don't know where they go, but they just disappear in August. So I love the initiative by Kayak. I hate that they're making it known, all of my secrets and times that I like to travel to different places. But I guess, sharing that with the world is good. It's also a tool that helps over tourism, because a lot of these markets complain about over tourism, and sometimes rightfully so, sometimes not so much. But when you have just millions and millions of tourists rolling through in the summer and then nothing the rest of the year, it does hurt your city. You've got a lot of empty properties. You've got a lot of empty restaurants. You have to staff up for those times. And then you have to jack up prices because that's the only time of year you're making money. So then locals get price gouged as well alongside the tourists. It certainly opens up a lot of issues, but I get why people travel in the summer, no school, yada, yada, but pull the kids out of school for a week and travel to Europe in the fall or in the spring. And it's a lot more fun in my opinion, and kudos to Kayak for rolling out a tool.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to me, it sounds like obviously the reason why I was kind of confused by it because I was more probably thinking it was an AI type of feature, but they have all these billions and billions of points of data. It makes sense to just showcase and display it publicly rather than just internally. So it's pretty cool. If you have the data, I think that's where a lot of maybe not tech companies or a lot of people in the industry or in our space, I would say, I think try to create this tool without the data or like not this tool, but try to create products or tech without having as many pieces. And I think having that many points of data, is why not, right? Like it's going to be pretty dang accurate.
Well, as an example, we went to Spain in May, so like right after
Yeah.
school was out, and prices were literally double than when I was in England 2 weeks prior.
Yeah.
So you're getting gouged for
Yeah.
traveling to Europe in the summers, and not just Europe. I'm sure many locations, but same with traveling down to the Caribbean in the winter, right?
Mhm.
When you go to all these places in peak season, you're paying more, and that's okay for a lot of people. But I love this is called an accessibility travel kit for people
Yeah.
who might not consider going and seeing the Christmas markets. I think right here in my background is a picture of a Christmas market in Germany. They're fun, they're festive, they're local, they're authentic. It's not put on for tourists. The locals are there having their glühwein and enjoying a warm wine on a cold frosty night. So I think first of all, kayak has to do something. The meta sites in general are struggling. The OTAs are dominating, but they keep coming out and trying new things. They tried the hotel brand, that didn't work out so well. Now they're trying a different tool. So good luck, kayak. I like it.
I was gonna say, I think we were trying to remember what article I was reading, but I think it might have been a rental scale up article, and it was going into the types of companies, is kind of recapping from scale rentals, but the types of companies that do really, really well, at least during conferences and conferences and different times of the year, things like that. Like there's a lot of these businesses that are really dependent on growth, but the companies that do really well are the ones that have data companies, AirDNA, they, as long as they're supplying data and collecting it, they're going to do pretty good because everyone needs it. We all need to have this data.
I had that thought totally separate to myself last week that man, if I start another business, it's got to have something to do with data, because these are the companies that are getting sold right now. These are companies everyone wants their hands on data. So PMSs are literally the center hub of all data that flows in and out of short-term rentals. Pricing companies have done extremely well, right? Beyond Pricing, Price Labs, Wheelhouse, they've all done great. And then Transparent has sold. AirDNA's got a big backer behind them. So
OTA Insights doing a lot of stuff recently. It's cool. And it's one thing, like even for us and our company, Hospitality FM, we have a ton of data on the back end from like listeners, and like we're like starting to lean into that a little bit more, being like, okay, we need to like get as much more data driven decision making wise and other types of the business. And I think it's not just for short-term rental operators going into markets or investing in whatever project, or even hoteliers, but I think any company in almost any industry can depend on a good data set and do pretty dang well. And if you are a data company, then you're going to probably do really, really well.
Yeah. And even if you're not a data company, talking about your data openly and publicly is helpful. You're more likely to get quoted in PR. You're more likely to have guests or unbeknownst visitors come to your site. So don't be shy about it. Share it. Talk about it. When I was at NoiseAware, we had all sorts of very unique specific data points, but the more we
Yeah.
talked about it, the more it resonated with people, and it made total sense. There were twice as many parties during COVID as there were 12 months prior. So those data points are real, they resonate, and as long as you tell a good story with them, you're right. That's what our colleague co-host Jamie is so good at doing, is telling the story along with the data. You can throw a bunch of data against a wall, but if it doesn't mean anything or you can't interpret it, it's worthless. So
hence why we love having Jamie on. He is great
at doing it.
Yeah. It's too good. Well, yeah, that's all we really got today. You have anything that you're looking forward to, Michael, before we wrap up, or we're gonna call this an early Monday? Finally, we're under the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, we've gone over a few times the past few weeks, so we'll give a couple minutes back, but there's a lot of moving pieces this past week, a lot of money flowing in. That's a great thing for everybody. Consolidation is real. It's going to keep happening. It's a snowball effect. So get ready to see more acquisitions coming soon, and we'll be here to share them with you.
Exactly. And get ready for next week. We will have Max Farley, who's the founder of Sojo, joining us to dive into not only the founding of the company, but what really goes behind a logistics and operations company like Sojo. Also what they're seeing. I'm going to definitely queue up some questions for data. I want to see some data behind this, and would be a great time for lessons learned as we continue to grow in this industry. So I'm pumped, and we'll have Brandy back, and we'll be a wonderful trio again. It'll be great. So very much looking forward to it. Have a great week, my friend. And for all of our listeners and subscribers, we'll see you guys next Monday.
Want to stop juggling spreadsheets, calendars, and a dozen apps just to run your rentals? Logify makes it easy. It's an all-in-one toolkit for hosts. Build a direct booking website, automate guest messaging, and keep all your channels in sync. Running your rental business your way has never been simpler. And for Good Morning Hospitality listeners, you can get 20% off any yearly plan with code GMH20. Just check the link in the show notes to get started today.